Hey Crosswinds, Amy here. Going to continue with our 7 sayings of Jesus today. Yesterday, Pastor Chris started us out with the 7 sayings of Jesus, and he spoke on forgiveness. As Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they are doing. Today we're going to continue in that, starting at verse 39. If you want to follow along with me, I'll be reading out of the New Living Translation. Luke 23, verse 39 says, one of the criminals hanging beside him scoffed, so you're the Messiah, are you? Prove it by saving yourself and us too while you're at it. But the other criminal protested, don't you fear God even when you're dying? We deserve to die for our evil deeds, but this man hasn't done anything wrong. Then he said, Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Our key verse is Luke 23:43, and it says, and Jesus replied, I assure you, today you will be with me in paradise. Here we have Jesus on the cross. He's been mocked and beaten. He's nailed up with his hands and his feet in between 2 criminals. Yet he's willing to save and display his unfailing love. You see, there's a conversation happening, and it's about salvation. This one criminal is defending Jesus. He's telling this first criminal, dude, do you not fear God? We're about to die. This is God here. He says, we deserve this. This man hasn't done anything wrong. This criminal may have never seen Jesus' miracles or been a part of his ministry while he walked the earth, but he knew enough to recognize he deserved to be on the cross, and Jesus did not. He tells Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Here he is recognizing that Jesus is a king. Here you have Jesus beaten, physically at his weakest moment, barely recognizable. In fact, this criminal probably is physically closer to Jesus than anyone else, and he still recognizes him as a king. He has a desperate belief. Jesus responds to the criminal and says, today, as in right now, right this moment, you will be with me in paradise. This is a salvation conversation. To exhale these words must have caused Jesus so much agony and pain, on top of all the physical beatings that he had taken on. Even exhaling and breathing took energy that he just didn't have. This criminal believed in Jesus even at his weakest moment. Isn't this what we're all after, believing in Jesus? Jesus doesn't force us to believe in him. He gives us the choice. Sin is the one thing that keeps us out of heaven, and God made a way for us to enter and be with him in his kingdom through the cross. This was the last conversation this criminal would ever have. Please don't wait until your very last conversation you'll ever have to make this decision. Today is the day for you to accept Christ. You may not be given the chance at a future date. What does the cross mean to you? This week I'll be thinking back and looking at my own salvation and what the cross means to me. While this story does have sadness and sorrow, and it can even make us cry thinking about the pain that Jesus endured for us, there's a happy ending if you know him as your Savior. He made a way for us to be with him forever. This week I'll be looking back on my own salvation. In 1996 of September, I made the decision to accept Christ and follow after him. Do you have a time that you can go back to where you recognized your need for Jesus, where you told him you were a sinner, where you believed what he did for you and wanted to live with him forever? If you haven't, we would love to help you make this decision. If you have, spend some time soaking on that this week, thinking about what Jesus means to you, what the cross means to you, and tell somebody. This is an exciting story. Jesus is alive. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great week.